Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you so that this moment could meet your eyes. The noise of the world fades, the ticking of clocks slows, and the veil between realms grows thin. You are standing at the intersection of eternity and obedience. This is not coincidence, this is divine intervention. The Spirit of God has sent two mighty angels to your side, and they are waiting for your response. You are not like the rest. You have always felt the pull of something higher, the quiet sense that your pain carried purpose, that your suffering was not in vain. Every tear, every lonely night, every unseen act of faith, it all led to this. Heaven has remembered you. The Almighty has looked upon your story and said, "Enough. It is time." The air around you shifts as light breaks through unseen dimensions. Two radiant beings descend, wings stretching wide, their eyes like fire and mercy intertwined. One stands to your right, sword gleaming with the authority of heaven. The other stands to your left, holding a scroll bound in gold thread. They say nothing at first, because even silence in their presence speaks. You feel it in your spirit, this is holy ground. Then, the one holding the sword speaks. His voice is not loud, but it carries the weight of eternity. You have been chosen, he declares. Heaven has sent us to rescue you, but your response must come swiftly. You have 21 minutes to align your heart with the will of God. Time in this realm bends to divine command, but obedience is measured in your yes. The second angel unfolds the scroll. Written upon it is your name surrounded by light, and beneath it, the words that only heaven could write: redeemed, restored, called. He looks at you with compassion and continues. Everything you have faced was not meant to destroy you, but to refine you. The fire you endured did not burn you, it revealed you. You feel the weight of their words settle deep inside your chest. Suddenly, every memory of rejection, every misunderstanding, every battle begins to make sense. You realize that you were never forsaken, only being prepared. The moments you thought were endings were actually divine pauses. Heaven was orchestrating alignment for such a time as this. And now, the call comes clearly. Heaven is giving you 21 minutes of divine mercy to make a decision to stay bound by fear, or to rise into the fullness of your calling. The angels do not plead. They simply wait. The light around them pulses like a living heartbeat. Beloved, understand this when heaven intervenes. It is not because you are lucky, but because you are chosen. You were set apart before time began. Your name was spoken in heaven before you took your first breath on earth. That is why storms could not drown you, and why betrayal could not break you. God has always had a claim on your soul. The defender angel steps forward again. Do not delay, he says. Every minute of hesitation strengthens the grip of darkness. Every second of surrender strengthens the reign of light. His sword ignites, flames of blue and gold dancing upon its edge, reflecting the urgency of heaven. As the warmth of their presence surrounds you, peace begins to flood your heart, an unfamiliar, holy peace that whispers, "You are safe now." You realize this is not the peace of the world, but something far greater. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." The words flow into your spirit like liquid fire. You feel chains break that you didn't even know you were carrying. Guilt begins to lift. Fear loses its grip. You understand now that the angels were not sent merely to save you from danger, but to awaken you to destiny. Look around, this is not an ordinary moment. Heaven has chosen this exact second to deliver a message to you personally. You are being pulled out of confusion and placed into clarity. You are being shifted from wandering to walking in purpose. You are being rescued not just from what chased you, but for what awaits you. So, what will you do with these 21 minutes? Will you turn away and pretend you didn't feel heaven move through your screen? Or will you lift your heart and say, "Yes, Lord, I hear you"? Your response determines the unfolding of everything next. Beloved chosen one, if you know this word is for you, if you can feel that divine stirring in your chest, don't stay silent. Take this act of faith right now. Like, share, and subscribe, so this word can awaken more souls who have been waiting in silence. You are not just watching. You are participating in a divine rescue mission. And before this minute ends, declare it publicly by commenting below. Comment 777, I choose the light. The angels stand motionless, their wings stretching across unseen realms, the air trembling with holy presence. The defender, the one who carries the sword, glances toward the horizon where light and darkness wrestle. The guide, the one with the scroll, turns his gaze toward you, his eyes filled with understanding deeper than oceans. You can feel it, this is no ordinary visitation. You have been summoned by divine strategy. Heaven has issued a rescue order, and you are the center of it. The defender speaks first. I am assigned to guard you, he says, his tone like thunder restrained by mercy. I have watched the shadows move against you, the silent plans of the enemy formed in secret. But no longer will they prosper. You are covered now by heaven's decree. His words strike your spirit with force. Suddenly you recall the moments when danger should have reached you but didn't, the near accidents, the inexplicable escapes, the unseen protection that always seemed to intervene. You realize it was never coincidence, it was divine defense. Heaven has always had warriors watching over you, invisible yet unstoppable. Then, the angel with the scroll steps closer. His robe shimmers like dawn breaking through fog. And I, he says, have been sent to guide you. My presence marks the turning of the page. The time for wandering is over. Now begins the chapter of direction. He unrolls the scroll, and light pours out like a waterfall. Within it, you see glimpses, visions of what could be, what should be, what still can be if you choose to walk in obedience. You see yourself not bound by fear, not trapped by the opinions of others, but radiant, walking in the full purpose heaven designed. The vision is so intense you almost tremble. He continues. You have asked heaven for a sign. You said, God, if you are real, show me. Consider this your answer. We have been dispatched because the Father heard your whisper. You are not forgotten, not overlooked, not dismissed. You are seen, you are known, and now you are called. The defender angel lowers his sword to the ground, and a wave of warmth spreads through the space around you. It feels like peace, but it also feels like power. You understand now that this moment is sacred, a divine meeting set before the foundation of the world. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The guide looks at you and says, every assignment requires alignment. You cannot carry heaven's purpose while holding on to earthly chains. There are things you must release: fear, resentment, self-doubt. They do not belong where you are going. His tone is not harsh, yet it pierces the deepest places of your heart. You know he's right. You can't step into the next dimension of calling while still clutching the pain of yesterday. You remember the times you hesitated, the moments you almost obeyed but held back. Yet here you stand again, given another chance, proof that mercy rewrites the script when repentance opens the door. The defender angel speaks once more. There are battles ahead, he warns, but you will not face them alone. My sword will go before you. My presence will guard behind you. You will walk through fire and remain untouched because heaven has placed its mark upon you. Then he points upward, and for a fleeting moment, the sky seems to split. You see layers of light upon light, and beyond that, the faint outline of a throne too radiant to gaze upon directly. You feel the hum of eternity vibrating through your chest. You are overwhelmed, not by fear, but by reverence. The guide's voice becomes gentle. Do not be afraid of what is ahead. What seems uncertain to you is clear to heaven. Trust the one who sent us. The path may look narrow, but it leads to life. You can hardly speak, but your heart whispers its agreement. It feels as though something invisible locks into place within you, a divine alignment, a heavenly seal of readiness. You are beginning to understand this isn't only about rescue, it's about restoration, transformation, and purpose. Heaven isn't just pulling you out of danger, it's setting you into destiny. As the angels step back, the defender raises his sword once more, the blade reflecting unseen worlds. His final words linger in the air, heavy with truth. When God sends his messengers, he is not merely saving a life, he is protecting a legacy. The light flares once again, and their presence burns into your spirit like a mark that cannot be erased. You realize that from this moment on, you will never be the same. The world may still look ordinary, but you have seen the supernatural, and nothing ordinary can satisfy you again. The light from the angels begins to shift, and you sense the atmosphere changing. The defender raises his sword toward the heavens, and suddenly you hear a sound, a low, resonant hum, like the heartbeat of creation itself. The air trembles. A clock made of light and fire appears before you, its golden hands moving slowly but deliberately. You realize what this means. The countdown has begun. 21 minutes, the guide says softly. That is all you have. Every minute is a seed, and what you sow in this time will determine your next season. The clock is not meant to scare you, it is meant to awaken you. The ticking grows louder, not in your ears, but in your spirit. You understand this isn't about earthly time, it's about divine timing. Heaven has opened a window, and once it closes, the opportunity will not return in the same form. You feel the pressure of decision, not as fear, but as holy urgency. But the defender speaks again, his voice steady and strong. Heaven has measured this moment for you. Do not waste it looking backward. The door that once led to pain is closed. What stands before you now is destiny. Walk through before the clock strikes completion. You glance at the golden hands of time and notice they move not in seconds but in heartbeats. Every beat represents a choice, faith or fear, surrender or silence. The angels do not rush you, yet everything inside you knows delay is dangerous. The countdown is mercy wearing the face of warning. The guide opens his scroll once more, and light spills forth like waves upon a shore. Every rescue comes with a response. He says, heaven can send help, but you must decide whether to receive it. You are standing in the middle of divine invitation. Then his voice softens, carrying a depth of compassion that silences even the sound of ticking. Do you know why the number 21 matters? It is the number of completion after conflict. Daniel prayed for 21 days before the angel broke through the heavens with his answer. You are living in that same pattern now. The breakthrough has been released. But your response determines whether it lands. Your heart trembles, not with fear, but with the awareness that heaven is speaking directly to you. You've waited for signs, for confirmation, for proof that you're not alone in your struggle, and this is it. This message isn't random. It's divine evidence that the battle in the unseen is turning in your favor. The ticking grows fainter, replaced by a stillness that feels like sacred silence. You realize heaven is waiting for your yes, but also your participation. Divine intervention has been released, but human agreement must seal it. The defender steps forward again, the edge of his sword shimmering with blue fire. Do not think of this countdown as punishment, he says, but as invitation. It is the kindness of God that gives you the gift of urgency. You have not missed your moment. You are standing inside it. You close your eyes, and in that stillness you feel heaven's rhythm align with your own heartbeat. The angels are not merely visiting you, they are surrounding you, shielding you, strengthening you. You begin to understand that what you feared losing was never meant to stay. The doors that closed were not rejection, they were redirection. Then the guide lifts his hand, and suddenly, every sound stops again. His next words come like a whisper, yet carry the weight of eternity. Every second you have left is holy. What will you do with it? As if answering that question, your spirit recalls a verse once spoken through the ancient prophet Isaiah, a verse that now burns like fire through your mind. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 6. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near. The words echo through your being, breaking through confusion, cutting through hesitation. You realize that heaven is not asking you for perfection. It's asking you for presence, to simply turn your heart toward God, to acknowledge that you hear him, and to respond. Beloved chosen one, this countdown is not the sound of fear, it is the rhythm of mercy. Every second is proof that heaven has not given up on you. The angels are standing still, waiting for your declaration, waiting for your decision to align your will with divine purpose. If you can feel heaven calling your spirit right now, if your heart knows that this is your 21-minute window to say yes, then let this be your declaration of readiness and surrender. Comment time is holy. Write it because you understand that your moments belong to God now. When you type those 3 words, you're not just commenting, you're claiming your place in divine timing. You're declaring that your delay ends here, that every breath you take from now on is a step inside heaven's schedule. The glow from the scroll intensifies until it fills the entire space, washing everything in golden light. You instinctively shield your eyes, but the light does not burn, it heals. It seeps into your soul, reaching the cracks you tried so long to hide. The guide stands before you, the scroll opened wide, its pages turning by a wind that isn't of this world. The letters upon it shift and move, alive with divine breath, and as they move, they form images, your memories, your struggles, your prayers. Every page is your story, written in heaven's language. This, says the guide, is the scroll of remembrance. The defender bows his head in reverence as the guide continues. Every tear you have shed, every word you whispered when you thought no one could hear, heaven recorded them all. The Father does not forget. You can hardly believe what you're seeing. The scroll shows nights when you felt abandoned, yet angels stood guard unseen. It reveals moments when you almost gave up, but divine strength entered your heart through the simplest whisper of faith. Each scene glows with purpose. You realize now that not 1 second of your suffering was wasted. Every heartbreak became part of a tapestry you could not yet see. Your throat tightens as you watch the ink of your own pain transform into light. The guide speaks again, his tone filled with compassion. You thought God was silent, but he was writing. Every unanswered prayer was being stored until its appointed time. He pauses, letting the truth settle into your spirit. Heaven's delay is never heaven's denial, he says. What you lost in tears, you will recover in glory. The defender steps closer and places his hand upon your shoulder. You were never invisible to heaven, he says gently. The darkness you walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. The silence you endured was not absence, it was strategy. You are not forgotten. You are being revealed. The words strike deep, tearing through layers of disbelief that years of disappointment built within you. You've asked God, where were you and now before your eyes? The answer stands, he was here all along, recording every moment, shaping every outcome. The guide gestures toward one section of the scroll that glows brighter than the rest. There you see yourself kneeling in your lowest moment, broken, whispering a single word. Help. The angels surrounding you now were there then. They were witnesses to your surrender, and heaven responded in that very moment, even if it took time for the evidence to reach the earth. He points at that glowing word on the scroll, and the letters burst into radiant light that washes over you. You feel the weight of your past lift. Shame loosens its grip. The unseen record of your pain is being rewritten in real time. The guide's voice grows quiet but firm. This scroll is not only a record of your past, it is a declaration of your future. It bears testimony to your endurance, your unseen obedience, and your covenant with heaven. The same God who documented your tears has prepared a chapter of victory. You stare at the light until it forms words again this time. Not of your past, but of a promise. Words that breathe, words that pulse. You can almost hear heaven whisper them into being. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. The truth pierces your soul like sunlight through fog. Every tear mattered. Every moment counted. Nothing was lost in vain. Heaven was never indifferent, it was intimate. The defender's voice softens as he says, when heaven remembers, heaven restores. Every loss will serve purpose. Every wound will become wisdom. You will speak of what once hurt you, and healing will flow to others through your testimony. The guide rolls the scroll closed, sealing it with a beam of light. The record is complete, he declares. Now begins the fulfillment. You breathe deeply, sensing that something invisible yet monumental has shifted within you. You are no longer defined by what was taken, but by what remains the divine record of endurance, faith, and survival. The angels step back, and the light surrounding the scroll fades into a gentle glow that lingers in the air. The space feels lighter, freer, as though even the atmosphere celebrates what has just been revealed. In your spirit, you understand heaven's remembrance is not passive, it is prophetic. To be remembered by God means that restoration is already in motion. And for the first time in a long while, you no longer feel forgotten. You feel seen. You feel chosen. You feel loved. You stand silently in that holy glow, realizing that remembrance itself is rescue. Heaven did not just see your pain, it preserved it to prove your purpose. The angels watch as peace settles over you, destiny breathes again. What once broke you now crowns you. What once ended you has now begun you. The light around you begins to shimmer again, softer this time like morning sunlight after a storm. You feel lighter, as though the weight of years has been lifted from your shoulders. The angels remain, their presence now tender, protective. The defender lowers his sword. The guide closes the scroll gently and as if sealing a sacred promise. You realize you have witnessed something few ever see: how deeply heaven has been woven into your story. The invisible has become visible. You were never abandoned. You were being shaped. And now, heaven calls you not only to stand but to shine, to become a vessel through which light continues its journey. The guide's eyes glimmer. The war over your destiny, he says, was never about what you lost. It was about what you carry. You survived so others could find hope through your flame. The defender adds, you are the torch heaven trusts to pass on light. His words ripple through you like wind through fire. You understand you were rescued so you could help rescue. All at once, you see their meaning unfold. Around you flicker countless candles, souls in darkness waiting for one spark of courage, one whisper of faith. They wait for someone like you, beloved chosen one. This message that found you is not just a video, it is a living flame. Every time you share it, you extend light to another heart still searching through the night. When you subscribe, you are saying, keep the flame burning, I will walk with the light. And if your heart feels stirred to give, understand this. Heaven never forces the hand, it invites the willing heart. Think of giving not as payment, but as pouring oil into a lamp so it never burns out. When you donate, you are not funding a message. You are fueling a mission. You are keeping the lighthouse lit for another ship lost at sea. Like this message, if it ignited something in your soul, a simple gesture that tells heaven, yes, I receive this light. Share it as your act of mercy, because someone you don't even know may find deliverance through your small act of courage. Subscribe not for routine but for connection, to remain near the flow of divine reminders that shape your faith in hidden ways. And if you feel led, donate with the tenderness of one who plants seeds in soil already blessed by rain. Let your generosity become the echo of gratitude, freely given, freely received. Scripture reminds us in the book of Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. You feel those words take root deep within. Every gesture of love, every act of giving, no matter how small, becomes eternal currency in heaven's economy. The angels seem to nod in approval. The guide smiles softly. You see, he whispers, every flame that burns shares itself and yet loses nothing. That is how heaven multiplies light. And you realize supporting this flow, sharing this message, keeping the light alive is not obligation. It is participation in something sacred. Every click, every share, every quiet act of generosity is another spark on the altar of rescue. So, beloved one, if this message found you, touched you, or healed you, let your gratitude become movement. Like to affirm it, share to extend it, subscribe to stay connected to the river of light. And if heaven nudges your heart, donate like someone tending a flame in the night, freely, joyfully, silently, because you believe the light must go on. And as you do, heaven whispers its thanks, the torch is passed. The mission continues. You linger in that holy stillness, feeling the truth ripple through your spirit. The angels do not speak now, they simply shine. Their silence is language enough, a quiet assurance that heaven approves your willingness to carry light. You understand every good act, every open hand, every kind thought is fuel for divine fire. Nothing given in love is ever wasted. The air around you hums like music you cannot quite hear. You sense heaven's rhythm beating with your heart. The defender lifts his sword again, this time not for war, but as a symbol of victory. The guide raises his scroll toward heaven, and both vanish into golden mist. What remains is their message, burning like scripture written in air. You are remembered. You are chosen. You are sent. You stand alone. yet not alone. The presence of God surrounds you, invisible but undeniable. You think of all those still lost in their storms, and a quiet determination rises inside you. You will keep the flame alive. You will become what the message was for you, a rescue light. You realize now the mission was never to escape the dark, but to shine within it. A calm wind brushes your face, carrying a voice softer than breath. Go forward, beloved. What you have received, share freely. The same grace that found you will flow through you. You take a deep breath, the peace of heaven expanding in your chest. And as you open your eyes again, the world around you feels new because you are. The golden mist that surrounded you begins to thin, revealing the horizon beyond a vast expanse glowing with twilight colors that seem both earthly and eternal. You feel your heart steady, as though heaven itself is giving you strength to stand firm. The defender's voice echoes faintly in your spirit, no longer from beside you but from within you. Now you walk as one who carries the light. You take a step forward and the world seems to shift beneath your feet. Everything familiar looks different, as though new meaning hides behind every shadow. The wind whispers through unseen trees, and you hear melodies of both warning and promise. Ahead of you, two paths appear, one dim and narrow, fading into fog, the other radiant, stretching toward distant mountains ablaze with glory. The guide's voice returns, tender and patient. Chosen one, what you see before you is not just a vision, it is the reflection of your heart. These paths have always existed within you. One leads to comfort without purpose, the other to purpose through challenge. Heaven will not choose for you. You must declare your direction. You stare at the paths, feeling the gravity of the moment. The dim road feels safe, silent, predictable. The bright one seems uncertain, yet it pulses with life. You remember everything the angels told you, the war for your destiny, the remembrance of your tears, the call to shine. Deep down, you already know which way you must go. But before you move, the guide continues speaking. Many begin well but grow weary. The light path demands surrender, consistency, and courage. You cannot carry both destiny and distraction. You cannot hold hands with heaven while clinging to what keeps you bound. His voice is not harsh, it is loving, but sharp enough to pierce through excuses. You realize that this choice, this simple moment is sacred. Heaven is watching not for perfection, but for decision. The light on the right glows brighter with each heartbeat. You feel its warmth pull you, almost like an invitation that says, "This is where your spirit belongs." The guide's words soften as he quotes a truth that seems to shimmer in the air itself. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." The verse settles in your soul like the steady rhythm of hope. You finally understand you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to illuminate, to live as proof that light still wins. You look again at the two roads and take a deep breath. Every part of you that once hesitated now feels fire instead of fear. You step forward onto the radiant path, and as your foot touches it, the ground itself seems to respond with light spreading under your feet. Heaven rejoices silently. As you walk, the fog of the dim road dissolves behind you. You sense that something in the unseen realm just shifted, that your obedience has activated angels, that your yes has rippled through eternity. The defender's voice echoes once more. Every step you take in light becomes a weapon against darkness. You walk in silence for a while, feeling peace mingle with purpose. The road doesn't promise ease, but it carries glory. Every breath feels like alignment, every step like agreement. The weight of your past no longer drags behind you. It becomes the wind pushing you forward. Beloved chosen one, heaven sees you walking. The very light that once surrounded you is now within you. This is no longer about being rescued, it's about being radiant. And now, as this revelation sinks deep, you are invited to seal your choice not just with words, but with a symbol, one that heaven recognizes as a mark of obedience and awakening. Type it as a declaration that you choose light over comfort, purpose over fear. The number 4 represents divine completion on earth, north, south, east, west, symbolizing that every direction of your life now belongs to God. Writing it is not superstition, it is surrender. It's your way of saying, I walk the lighted path and I will not turn back. The angels do not demand your comment. They simply watch with gentle hope. Heaven never forces the chosen, it invites them. Your simple act of typing those numbers becomes an echo in the unseen realm. A small yet mighty yes that shakes the walls of hesitation. You keep walking and the glow of the path grows stronger, wrapping around you like a mantle. The further you go, the more peace you feel. The road ahead glimmers not because it is easy, but because it is blessed. You realize that what began as rescue is now transformation. You are not just saved, you are being sent. When you write 444, you're declaring balance and completion in every direction of your life body, mind, spirit, and purpose. It means, I align fully with divine order, and I choose light forever. The air along the radiant path feels different, alive, alert, watching. Every step you take hums with quiet power, as if heaven itself breathes beneath the ground. You walk in silence, yet you can feel unseen eyes observing, protecting, recording. The defender's promise echoes faintly in your spirit. Every step you take in light becomes a weapon against darkness. Ahead, the light shifts into a soft gold hue and the path widens. The atmosphere thickens with reverence. And suddenly, the guardian angel appears again, tall, steadfast, eyes burning like stars through fog. His sword remains sheathed this time, but his presence still carries the weight of divine authority. He looks at you with both tenderness and gravity. The journey has begun, he says, but every chosen path carries opposition. The brighter the light, the greater the resistance. You nod silently, already feeling the truth of his words. You remember nights of doubt that tried to drag you back, voices that whispered you weren't strong enough, moments when obedience felt like walking against the wind. The angel steps closer, his glow warming the air. Listen carefully, he says. The enemy cannot destroy destiny, but he will attempt to distract it. His weapon is subtlety, small compromises, delayed obedience, the false comfort of familiarity. He raises his hand, and before your eyes, visions flicker across the air like reflections on water. You see yourself hesitating when God spoke, delaying when you should have moved, questioning when you should have trusted. None of it seemed destructive at the time, but now you see how delay created distance and distance dimmed the light. The traps are not always battles. The angel continues. Sometimes they are comforts that dull conviction. The shadow that hides from your notice is the most dangerous one. His words strike deep. You feel conviction, not condemnation. As the truth sinks in, you realize how easily distraction can masquerade as rest, how quickly comfort can become a cage. The angel steps back slightly and gestures toward the horizon, where faint shapes move in the mist, dark silhouettes, shifting and whispering. These are not strangers, he says quietly. They are your old patterns, your former fears. The voices that once convinced you to stay small. They cannot follow you unless you turn around to listen. Your heart tightens. You recognize those shadows, the regret that told you you'd missed your moment, the insecurity that said others were more qualified, the heaviness that whispered you were forgotten. The guardian's tone hardens with holy fire. Do not entertain the echoes of your past. Each one seeks your attention, not your destruction. For if they can steal your focus, they can steal your forward motion. He then lifts his eyes toward the sky, where light streaks down in radiant threads. The Father has assigned me to guard you from the snares of deception, but I cannot protect your will. You must choose awareness over apathy, focus over familiarity. You breathe deeply and the air fills your lungs with clarity. The mist begins to thin, and you feel the peace that comes when truth takes root. The shadows fade, unable to stand against your awakened resolve. For a moment, the angel's fierce presence softens. Beloved, he says, the mark of the chosen is not that they never stumble, but that they rise quickly. Heaven does not measure you by how often you fall, but by how swiftly you return to obedience. The reminder feels like a gentle embrace from eternity. You exhale, releasing the tension you didn't realize you carried. The angel's eyes glimmer as he lifts his sword, pointing toward the open sky. You will see storms, but they will not destroy you. You will feel fear, but it will not control you. For as long as you walk this path, the Lord has assigned protection that darkness cannot break. And then he speaks words that vibrate through every atom of your being, words that wrap around you like armor, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs at chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. Then you will go on your way in safety and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Peace floods your spirit, slow and steady like sunlight creeping across the dawn. You realize this warning was not to scare you, but to strengthen you, to keep you awake, aware, and aligned. The guardian lowers his sword again and looks at you with a mixture of affection and reverence. You are watched over, he says, but never forget awareness is armor. Stay awake, for darkness cannot touch the one who refuses to sleep in distraction. His form begins to fade back into the glow, but his final words remain: guard your focus as you would guard your crown. What you protect in secret will determine what heaven displays in public. The light wraps around you once more, sealing this revelation within your heart. You continue walking, the air now alive with quiet confidence. You no longer fear the journey ahead. You have seen the traps, and you have been taught how to stand. The golden air drifts quietly as the path ahead bends toward a valley wrapped in silver mist. You feel the temperature shift. The light cools, the wind slows, and a reverent silence fills the atmosphere. You know you are being led deeper, not outwardly, but inwardly into the chambers of purpose that have slept within your soul. You walk with slower steps now. Each footfall feels guided, as though invisible hands gently press beneath your heels. The valley does not feel threatening, though it carries a gravity that demands attention. It is as though heaven itself has drawn you into the very center of understanding. And then the light gathers again. From the air itself, the second angel, the guide, emerges once more. His presence feels different this time, calmer, deeper, like water that reflects both storm and stillness. The scroll he once carried now glows within his hands, but you notice that its seal is broken. He speaks softly. This portion of your journey is revelation. You have been guarded by grace, but now you must be guided by wisdom. What you could not see before, You will now be shown. His words awaken a quiet anticipation within you. You watch as he opens the scroll, and radiant script flows like liquid gold across the sky. The words do not remain still, they move and shape themselves into images, visions, memories, and glimpses of what could be. You see flashes of your life, moments of surrender, sparks of courage, the faces of people you were destined to touch. The guide looks at you knowingly. You were never called merely to survive, he says. You were called to build, to speak, to heal, to become a living reflection of divine strategy. Your story is a seed, and when sown into the lives of others, it will multiply beyond your sight. He points toward one glowing image hovering before you. It shows a barren field turning green under sudden rain. This is what obedience does, he explains. Every time you act in faith, heaven waters a field you cannot see. What feels small to you becomes harvest to many. The truth strikes deep, awakening something bold within you. You think of all the times you doubted your worth, all the moments you wondered if your obedience mattered. Now, the answer stands before you like sunlight touching dry ground. It always mattered. Heaven never measures impact by numbers, but by faithfulness. The angel turns the scroll again, revealing symbols written in light. Every calling is sustained by guidance. He continues, "That is why I was sent to reveal direction when vision grows dim. You must learn to listen not only for the thunder of God, but for His whisper." He steps closer, and for a moment, you feel the warmth of His light brush against your chest. It feels like being seen beyond words. There will be times when heaven seems silent again, he says. Do not mistake silence for absence. Often, the greatest instruction comes through quietness. Stillness is not delay. It is dialogue. You close your eyes, letting that truth settle. How many times had you grown restless in silence, assuming God had turned away? Yet now you understand the stillness was an invitation, not a rejection. It was the space where clarity grows. The guide lifts his eyes to the horizon where the mist begins to part. There is something you must remember, he says. Revelation is not for recognition, it is for responsibility. Heaven reveals so that you may act. To see and not move is to dim the light you were given. His voice carries weight, but also gentleness. You realize revelation without obedience becomes nothing more than spiritual noise. Purpose is not born in hearing, it is born in doing. As if echoing his thought, light from the scroll flashes one final time, revealing words that pierce through every layer of your being. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 32. Verse 8, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. The verse vibrates through your heart like a living pulse. You understand now that guidance is not distant, it is intimate. God's direction does not come from above alone. It moves beside you, within you, watching tenderly over every step. The angel closes the scroll, its light folding neatly into itself like a promise sealed until the next season. Your next steps, he says quietly, will not be written in the clouds, they will be written in your courage. Trust the whisper. Trust the eye that sees. His form begins to fade once more, merging into the light that fills the valley. As he disappears, you feel his final words ripple through the air. Heaven's guidance is constant, even when the map seems hidden. Keep walking, the way unfolds as you move. The mist begins to lift. The path ahead shimmers again, golden and alive. You step forward with renewed strength, your heart steady, your spirit clear. You are no longer searching for direction, you are walking in it. You keep walking, and the golden path beneath your feet begins to hum softly again, like strings of an unseen harp responding to your every step. The light feels warmer here, more personal, as though heaven itself draws closer with every breath you take. The valley behind you fades from sight, and ahead, the path climbs toward a quiet ridge where the air is sharper, clearer, filled with a sacred expectancy. When you reach the top, the view takes your breath away. Before you stretches a vast landscape of color and motion, cities, rivers, people. You realize that this is the world as heaven sees it, not broken, but waiting, not abandoned, but aching for awakening. You feel it instantly, the weight of purpose pressing gently upon your spirit. Then, suddenly, you sense a presence behind you. You turn, and there stands the guide again, radiant as ever, but with a solemn expression. "This," he says, motioning toward the horizon, "is where faith becomes obedience. What heaven has revealed must now be released through you. The light within you must no longer be silent." You look again at the world below, and something deep within you stirs. It's not fear, it's calling. Every fiber of your being seems to whisper, "This is what you were made for." The angel continues. Many hear the word but never carry it. They believe but never build. Heaven is asking you to move from revelation to response. His words pierce you with conviction and compassion at once. You realize that believing is no longer enough. The time for passive faith has ended. The scroll has been opened, the direction revealed, and now action must follow. The guide's tone softens. "Do not despise small beginnings," he says. Heaven celebrates the first step as much as the final victory. Faith is not measured by how far you walk, but by how willing you are to begin. You lower your head, feeling humility wash over you. How many times had you waited for perfect timing, perfect clarity, or perfect confidence before moving? Yet heaven never asked for perfection, only participation. The angel raises his hand and, with a slow gesture, opens a vision in the air. You see yourself speaking words of encouragement to someone in despair, offering kindness to someone unseen, standing strong in truth when it would be easier to remain silent. Each simple act shines brighter than grand gestures. Heaven's reward, it seems, is found not in applause, but in obedience. The guide speaks again, this time with a gentleness that feels like love itself. When you act in faith, you become heaven's echo on earth. Your words carry healing. Your actions carry light. Your obedience becomes the language through which God speaks to others. You look down once more at the shimmering world below. The people seem so small from here, yet somehow you sense their hearts. You can almost hear their unspoken cries, souls waiting for someone to reflect divine courage so they might find their own. The angel's eyes narrow, glowing with holy fire. Do not let fear silence what faith has awakened. The world does not need perfection, it needs your authenticity. Heaven will anoint what you offer in honesty. You breathe deeply, letting the truth steady your spirit. You may not know every detail of what comes next, but you know the direction forward, faithful, fearless. Then, as if sealing the revelation, a verse unfurls across the horizon, written in letters of radiant silver. The Word of God declares in the book of James, chapter 2, verse 17, "Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." The words throb with living power. You feel them engrave themselves upon your spirit, turning conviction into courage. You know what must come next. You must move, speak, live what heaven has shown you. The guide begins to fade, his final words carried on the wind. Obedience is not a burden, it is freedom. When you act on what heaven says, you become proof that light still lives in the world. The vision before you begins to dim, leaving only the sound of your own heartbeat and the steady whisper of the Spirit within. You sense heaven waiting not for perfection, but for your yes. And so, chosen one, if this word ignites something within you, if you feel heaven's whisper pressing you to act, then let your comment become your covenant. Let it be your quiet yet powerful answer to the call that has just been spoken into your heart. Comment I move. Type it as a declaration that you are done waiting for the perfect moment, that from this point on, you walk by faith, not by fear. Those two words are not for others, they are for heaven to record as your response. When you write them, you are not just acknowledging the message, you are stepping into it. You are saying, my obedience begins now, and heaven, watching silently, smiles. You stand still for a long moment after the angel's light fades, your breath mingling with the hush of heaven around you. The world below no longer feels distant, it feels entrusted to you. Every breeze that brushes your face seems to whisper purpose. Every ray of light that touches your skin carries promise. You sense that the journey is no longer just about being rescued. It's about becoming the rescuer. The bridge between divine mercy and human need. The road before you stretches farther now, winding through hills of gold and valleys of calm shadow. You walk slowly, aware of every heartbeat, aware that each step echoes somewhere beyond the physical world. You are living proof that heaven intervenes. And as you walk, you begin to understand rescue is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of responsibility. In the quiet, you hear again the soft voice of the guide, not beside you but within you. The light entrusted to you must not be kept hidden, he says gently. Every message heaven gives is a seed. When you release it, it multiplies. When you hold it back, it withers. You pause, and the truth of his words flows into you like warm rain. You think of the message that reached you when you needed it most, how it found you in the right moment, how it lit a flame inside your chest that refused to die. You realize that there are others right now waiting for that same spark. The voice continues, light travels when carried by willing hands. You close your eyes and breathe deeply, letting those words settle. The wind shifts, and you feel heaven's kindness surrounding you again. The same peace that once rescued you now invites you to become part of the rescue for others. Then suddenly, you hear a verse echo through the air, gentle yet powerful, like water running through the soul. Scripture says in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap." The words are not demand, they are invitation. They speak of abundance that flows from generosity, of heaven's cycle of giving and receiving that never runs dry. Beloved chosen one, this message that reached you is more than sound and words. It is the echo of heaven seeking open hearts. When you share this message, you are not spreading content. You are scattering seeds of hope. Somewhere, someone is scrolling through silence, searching for a sign, and your simple act could be the lantern that reaches them. Like this message, if it has stirred something within you, that simple click is not about approval. It is about alignment. It tells heaven, I receive what you are speaking. It anchors this word deeper in your spirit and allows its light to grow stronger in you. Subscribe if you feel drawn to stay near the stream that refreshes your faith. Think of it as returning to a well that never runs dry, a place where heaven continues to speak through words that restore, awaken, and remind you who you truly are. And if your heart feels that gentle tug to do more, to help the flow of this light reach farther, consider this: even a small act of giving can become a ripple in eternity. When you donate, you are not making a transaction, you are releasing provision. It's like pouring oil into a lamp so that it never flickers out. Every drop keeps the flame alive for another soul wandering in the dark. Your generosity becomes the unseen bridge between heaven's voice and the heart still waiting to hear it. You may never meet them, never see their tears turn to peace, but heaven will. You imagine now the light as a living current flowing from one heart to another, from one act of faith to the next. Every share becomes a spark across continents, every donation a log upon the fire, every like a whisper of agreement that keeps the current alive. There is no pressure here, no rule, no demand, only invitation. Heaven does not force, it offers. It leaves room for choice, because love without freedom is not love at all. So if your spirit feels that quiet stirring, follow it not out of obligation, but out of gratitude. Let your response, however small, become a part of heaven's movement on earth. When you like, you affirm. When you share, you extend. When you subscribe, you stay near. When you donate, you build the bridge for others to cross into light. The guide's voice fades, leaving behind a silence that feels like peace. You stand beneath the endless sky, your heart wide open, realizing that you are both the messenger and the message. The flame that once saved you now burns within you, and you will not let it go out. You lift your face toward heaven, feeling warmth gather in your chest. The light within you flickers steady and strong, proof that obedience has become your offering. The path glows softly as you move onward, the gold beneath your feet giving way to silver light that ripples like living water. You sense that something sacred is shifting within you. The urgency of rescue has passed, replaced now by deep stillness, the kind that speaks louder than words. You have been pulled out of the storm and set upon a foundation of peace. The air carries a sweetness that feels ancient. Above you, the sky glimmers with faint streams of light, as if the heavens themselves are tracing your progress, marking your obedience with silent approval. You have learned to walk by faith, not by sight. Now, you begin to see by faith, not by fear. The atmosphere changes once more, and in a gentle shimmer, a reflection forms before you. At first, it looks like a mirror, hovering in midair, but as you draw closer, you realize it is not made of glass, it is woven from light, alive, breathing, reflecting more than your face. This is the prophetic mirror, the one the angels spoke of when they said you would be shown who you are becoming. You stand before it, hesitant. The reflection staring back at you is familiar yet transformed. Your eyes, once tired, now hold the fire of understanding. Your posture, once uncertain, radiates confidence born from surrender. You see not who you were, but who heaven always knew you could be. The mirror ripples like water, and images begin to form, moments from your journey, flashes of divine intervention, glimpses of unseen battles you have survived. You watch as your pain reshapes itself into purpose, your wounds into wisdom, your silence into strength. You see light pouring out of you, touching others, igniting hope. And then, the reflection changes again. You see crowns, many crowns hovering above your head, but not of gold or jewels. They are crowns of fire, representing every test endured, every act of obedience chosen, every tear turned into testimony. You realize that heaven counts victory differently. Here, crowns are not earned by power, but by perseverance. The mirror speaks not with sound, but with spirit, and you understand its message in your heart. You are no longer the one waiting for rescue. You are the vessel of rescue itself. You breathe slowly, and your reflection breathes with you. For the first time, you recognize your true self, the reflection of divine purpose wrapped in human form. You are not broken glass, you are refined gold, not abandoned, but anointed, not forgotten, but commissioned. And then, a voice like wind across a harp speaks within the light. The enemy once called you weak because he only saw your wounds. Heaven calls you strong because it saw your endurance. You feel warmth course through your veins, a power both tender and unshakable. The mirror flashes again, and written across it in glowing letters are words of truth that cannot be erased. Authority, restoration, glory. You whisper softly, "Is this really me?" The same voice answers, "It is who you have always been." Tears fill your eyes, not of sorrow, but of holy awe. You understand now that identity in heaven is never earned, it is remembered. You were crowned before you were wounded. You were chosen before you were challenged. You reach out and touch the mirror. The surface ripples again, and your reflection seems to step forward until the light merges with your own body. A surge of power flows through you, not violent but steady like a river joining its source. The mirror dissolves into the air, leaving you radiant, calm, renewed. As the last of the light fades, the words of ancient scripture rise within your spirit, not shouted but sung. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 18. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. The verse wraps around you like a cloak of light. You realize transformation is not a moment, it is a movement. It is the ongoing unfolding of who you are in the eyes of God. The atmosphere settles once more. You look at your hands, noticing a faint glow that remains. The reflection may have vanished, but its truth has not. You carry it now, the awareness of divine identity that cannot be shaken by failure, fear, or doubt. The valley you once walked through has become a testimony. The storms that nearly broke you have become your authority. You understand that destiny does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it simply is. You breathe in peace, exhaling gratitude. The road ahead stretches further, glowing faintly beneath an endless sky. You no longer need constant confirmation, you are walking as confirmation. Heaven's silence is no longer frightening, it feels like trust. And as you take your next step forward, you do so not to prove anything, but to express what has already been proven. You are chosen, transformed, and crowned in light. The light that once reflected from the mirror now lives within you, soft but constant, like an ember that refuses to fade. Each step you take feels grounded, deliberate, and drenched in peace. You are no longer walking uncertainly, you are walking in remembrance of who you are. The world around you begins to brighten, not because the sun rises, but because your spirit radiates. As you journey onward, the path opens into a meadow blanketed in golden grass. The air smells of rain and renewal, and in the distance, a sound like distant bells drifts through the sky. The presence of heaven feels closer here, like invisible hands woven through the air, wrapping you in assurance. You sense movement again, and the defender reappears. His armor gleams brighter than before, yet his expression is gentler. "Chosen one," he says, his voice echoing like thunder softened by compassion. "The seal of heaven is near. It is time for your covering to be renewed." You feel your heart quicken, not in fear but anticipation. "The seal," you whisper. He nods. Every chosen one is marked, not with symbols seen by men, but with the signature of heaven itself, a covering of protection, purpose, and authority. It identifies those who belong to light. He lifts his hand, and a glowing sigil appears between you, circular, woven with radiant threads of silver and gold. Within it pulse countless shapes, shifting like constellations being rewritten. You feel its energy reach toward you, searching for your willingness. The angel continues. The seal is not forced. Heaven does not brand the unwilling. It rests only upon those who answer, who align, who choose again and again to stand in light. You realize that even now, this holy moment hinges on choice. Though heaven has chosen you, you must also choose heaven. The defender's wings unfold, stretching wide, their tips touching the edges of eternity. Do not take this lightly, he says. Once the seal touches your life, you are marked as a carrier of divine fire. Darkness will recognize you, and it will retreat. The wind around you swirls, pulling leaves and light together into a whirlwind of radiance. Your spirit trembles. You have felt the presence of angels before. But this is different. This feels like a covenant being written in invisible ink upon your soul. And then, through the rising light, a verse comes to your mind carried on the whisper of the Spirit, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Ephesians chapter 1 verse 13. When you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit. The words pierce you with comfort. The seal isn't a burden, it's belonging. It is not chains, it is covering. You feel the truth course through you. Heaven is not marking you to control you, but to claim you as protected, anointed, remembered. The angel lowers his hand, and the sigil slowly descends until it hovers over your heart. The moment it touches your chest, a wave of warmth floods through you, strong, alive, electric yet gentle. You feel peace so deep it silences every remaining doubt. The seal glows faintly before fading into your skin, leaving behind an eternal impression only heaven can see. The defender smiles. It is done. You are sealed not by works, but by willingness. You walk now under the covering of promise. Nothing formed against you will prevail, and every whisper of fear will fall silent in the presence of your obedience. You look down at your hands. Faint light pulses through your veins like liquid gold. The awareness settles in. You are now both protected and commissioned. You do not just carry light. You have become its dwelling place. The angel steps back, his wings folding once more. His voice softens into a tone that feels like friendship. Never forget, this seal is not decoration, it is declaration. Wherever you walk, heaven walks with you. The wind grows calm again, and silence stretches across the meadow. You know this is your moment to acknowledge what heaven has done to seal your heart's agreement in return. If this word resonates with your spirit, if you can feel that invisible mark pressing gently over your heart, then declare it below as a sign of alignment and gratitude. Type it as a confession that you are sealed in divine protection, covered by grace, and walking under heaven's authority. The number 5 symbolizes grace multiplied, mercy upon mercy, favor upon favor. By writing it, you are not summoning power, you are acknowledging it. You are saying, I am marked by light and I choose to remain. Heaven watches as your spirit responds, and peace, like sunlight on water, fills the space around you once more. When you write 555, you're declaring that grace has found you and will not let you go. It is heaven's reminder that mercy renews itself over your life daily. Every repetition of 555 whispers, I walk in divine favor. It means restoration follows me, peace surrounds me, and every step forward is guided by love that never fails. The meadow begins to fade behind you as the light shifts again, carrying you toward a realm quieter and deeper than any you've walked before. The air here feels dense, like liquid peace, rich with memory. The wind no longer hums with urgency, but with sacred continuity. Every breath feels deliberate, each inhale a remembrance, each exhale an offering. You sense that heaven is about to unveil something ancient, something that reaches beyond your own lifetime. As you step forward, the ground changes beneath your feet. The gold path transforms into stone, smooth, polished, engraved with markings you cannot yet decipher. They glow faintly under your steps, pulsing as though alive. The silence deepens. Then through the still air, a soft rumble stirs, and suddenly the guide appears once more. His light is gentler now, yet more commanding. He carries no scroll this time, but a staff made of clear crystal, its surface shimmering with history. He greets you with a knowing smile. "You have walked well," he says. "Now, heaven will show you the covenant that preceded you, the promise that has followed your bloodline since before your birth. Your spirit stills, a covenant you whisper." He nods. Long before you struggled, long before your first prayer, heaven spoke over your lineage. There was an agreement between God and those who carried faith before you, a thread that wove through generations. You are standing inside that promise now. The air begins to tremble softly, and before you, visions unfold like ripples on water. You see faces, some familiar, most not. Ancestors who prayed in fields, whispered in silence, or cried out in darkness for those yet to come. You see their devotion, their faith, their unfinished stories. It strikes you that their hope has not died, it has traveled, finding you as its vessel of completion. The guide raises his staff, and the visions merge into a single glowing strand that winds its way toward your heart. "This is the hidden covenant," he says. "Every family carries one, a divine assignment meant to reveal God's nature through their generations. Some remember it, others forget, but heaven never does." You feel tears forming. The light touches your chest and warmth spreads through you. You suddenly remember the prayers of a grandmother, the songs of faith you once heard as a child, the moments you nearly walked away yet somehow found strength to stay. It all begins to make sense. You were not walking alone, you were walking inside an inheritance of faith. The guide continues. Every time you chose mercy over bitterness, every time you forgave instead of retaliating, you realigned with this covenant. It is the spiritual DNA of obedience. The same fire that moved your ancestors to believe now burns through you. You glance upward, where the sky begins to swirl with light again. You see symbols written across it, names, promises, patterns of grace, and one phrase that seems to pulse brighter than all the rest. Heaven keeps its word through generations. The guide lowers his voice. Do not think your life is random. You were born into a divine continuation. Heaven's promises run through bloodlines like rivers beneath the ground, hidden but unstoppable. When you pray, you awaken what your ancestors began. When you obey, you complete what they dreamed. You bow your head, overcome by the beauty of it all. The awareness that your life carries ancient purpose humbles you deeply. You realize now that every victory you gain is not just your own, it redeems what came before and prepares what will come after. The angel looks into your eyes and says gently, "This is why the battle over your life has been fierce. You are not just a person, you are a promise fulfilled." The words strike you like a bell ringing through eternity. For a moment, you feel every generation behind you stand in silent applause. The weight you once carried now feels like honor. Then through the golden air, a verse arises strong, eternal, glowing with truth. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 32, verse 40. "I will make an everlasting covenant with them. I will never stop doing good to them, and I will inspire them to fear me, so that they will never turn away from me." The verse echoes through your soul, reverberating with a peace deeper than comfort. You understand that covenant is not a contract, it is continuity. It means heaven's goodness does not expire, it multiplies through obedience. The light around the guide softens again, and he lifts his hand in blessing. Honor what came before you by walking faithfully now. Your obedience will write the next chapter for those yet to be born. You nod through quiet tears. The path ahead glows once more, and though you cannot see its end, you feel no fear. You are part of something far greater than your own story, a divine legacy written in eternity's ink. The guide fades, leaving only the faint shimmer of the covenant strand still pulsing around your heart. You touch your chest, feeling it hum like a heartbeat that is not yours alone. It beats with generations of faith, and you whisper, "I will not break what heaven began." The road winds onward, carrying you from the realm of covenant into a new landscape. The light shifts, deepening to amber and rose, as if the heavens themselves are exhaling after revealing sacred truth. You walk through stillness, the kind that feels alive, filled with invisible movement, quiet yet rich with meaning. Every breath you take tastes like completion. You sense that you are nearing a border, the edge between what was and what is about to be. Your footsteps echo faintly on the path as the terrain changes again. The golden meadow gives way to a narrow bridge suspended above a vast expanse. Beneath you, mist swirls like ocean waves, stretching endlessly in every direction. This is the place between realms, the crossing point the angels once spoke of. The bridge itself glows faintly, woven from threads of light so thin you can see eternity through them. You pause, not in fear but in reverence. The crossing feels final, like a transition between versions of yourself. On the far side of the bridge, a horizon gleams with soft light, no longer gold or white, but pure iridescence, the color of promise fulfilled. The voice of the guide returns within you. Steady and gentle, this crossing is not for escape, it is for elevation. You are stepping out of the season of remembrance and into the season of revelation lived. You will not only carry heaven's truth, you will embody it. You inhale deeply, the air trembling with unseen electricity. The moment feels heavier than time. Each plank of the bridge glows under your feet as you take your first step forward. Behind you, the world of old patterns begins to fade. Ahead of you, light ripples with invitation. Halfway across, the air thickens. The wind rises, not violent, but strong enough to test your balance. The bridge sways slightly. You hear whispers, faint and familiar. Are you sure you're ready? You could go back. It's safer there. These are not outside voices, they are the last echoes of doubt within you, remnants of the person you used to be. You stop, steady yourself, and look down into the swirling mist below. For a moment, the fog clears, and you see reflections of your past old fears, regrets, failures dancing like ghosts in the water. Each one beckons softly, offering you comfort in exchange for surrender. But then another light flickers across the bridge, warm, steady, unstoppable. You remember what the angels told you: awareness is armor. You take a breath and speak into the air. I have already been chosen. I have already been sealed. Instantly, the wind calms, the whispers fade. The bridge stabilizes beneath your feet, glowing brighter than before. You realize this crossing is not about endurance, it is about agreement. Heaven has already made its choice. Now you are making yours. You continue forward, step by step, and something miraculous begins to happen. The bridge no longer feels like a structure, it feels alive, like the pulse of divine transition itself. Every step leaves behind not just footprints, but bursts of light that linger, as if your obedience itself illuminates the path for those who will follow. When you finally reach the center of the bridge, you stop, The horizon ahead is radiant, but something within you tells you to pause, to look one last time, not in longing, but in gratitude. You turn back and see the lands you've crossed, the valley of revelation, the meadow of sealing, the hill of obedience, the battlefield of faith. None of it was wasted. Every struggle became a step. Every pain became proof. The wind shifts again, but this time it carries a voice, clear, fatherly, unmistakable. Well done, faithful one. It says, you have walked through the old. Now step into the new. Your eyes fill with tears. You whisper, I'm ready. And as you take the next step, the bridge itself dissolves into light beneath your feet. You are not falling, you are ascending. The air lifts you gently, carrying you forward. The sensation is like being reborn, your spirit soaring free of every weight you once carried. A verse rises within you, steady and calm, spoken like a seal upon your heart. Heaven speaks through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The words bloom inside you like sunrise breaking through eternal night. You understand now that this crossing is more than transition, it is transformation. The wilderness becomes a way. The wasteland becomes water. The end becomes beginning. You land gently on the other side, where the ground feels new, untouched, holy. The sky expands endlessly above you, shimmering with color and sound. You are no longer looking for where to go, you are where you were meant to be. The past no longer calls, the future no longer frightens. You walk forward, whole, healed, and ready to bear heaven's light into the world that waits beyond the veil. You stand upon the far side of the bridge, where the light feels alive, warm, and endlessly unfolding. It's no longer the kind of light that blinds, it's the kind that breathes. The air vibrates softly with invisible song, and you realize you've crossed not just into a new place, but into a new way of being. Heaven's rhythm is now your own. Every heartbeat feels like an echo of eternity whispering, you made it. The path ahead stretches toward a horizon painted with colors beyond the human palette. There are no shadows here, only layers of light. The stillness hums like worship. And you know that this moment is the threshold between fulfillment and commission. You have been rescued, restored, sealed, and revealed. Now comes the roar of heaven, the sound of purpose awakening in every corner of creation because one soul you chose to say yes. The silence breaks like the dawn as the defender appears once more. Not in armor this time, but clothed in radiant simplicity. His wings shimmer faintly, and his face carries the peace of completion. He speaks with a tone that feels both gentle and commanding. Chosen one, he says, this is the sound of heaven's rejoicing. Every time a heart aligns with divine light, heaven resounds in victory. You are the evidence that God's promises still live. You glance around, realizing that the air itself seems to pulse with unseen applause. Light ripples through the clouds like waves through water, and your spirit senses multitude souls, angels, witnesses celebrating your obedience. The defender continues. Now, your voice becomes the trumpet of light. What heaven has whispered to you must now echo through others. The same way this message reached you, it must travel farther. You are not commanded, you are invited to let the flame move through you. He gestures toward the horizon, and in that instant, you see countless lights flickering in the distance, hearts waiting, searching, hoping. Each one represents someone who has yet to hear that they are chosen too. Light does not diminish when shared, the angel says softly. It multiplies. Then, As if sealing his words with eternal truth, Scripture rises in your heart like a calm river of promise. The ancient words recorded in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25 declare, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." You feel that verse expand within you. It doesn't command, it invites. It reminds you that giving and sharing are not obligations. They are continuations of the miracle itself. Beloved chosen one, this message that reached you is not just sound, it is seed. And every seed must travel. When you share it, you are scattering hope across unseen soil. Somewhere, a tired heart waits for that seed to fall, to bloom, to breathe again. Like this message, if it resonates within your spirit, it's more than a gesture, it's a whisper of agreement that tells heaven, "I receive this light and reflect it forward." Comment below, write what this journey stirred in you, even if it's only a sentence or a single word. Words left in faith are like lanterns placed along the path. They guide others without your knowing. If your heart longs to stay near this river of revelation, to keep drawing from the well that renews, subscribe. Think of it as dwelling beside a living spring, where each message that flows is another drop of heaven's reminder that you are never alone. And if a gentle stirring calls you to go further, to keep the flame alive, to help this light travel beyond the horizon, donate. Give not from pressure, but from peace. Giving is not losing light. It is multiplying it. Your kindness becomes oil for the lamp, ensuring that its glow never dims for another searching soul. Each act, like share, comment, subscribe, or donate, is a quiet prayer of participation. It is how you say, "Let the light keep moving through me." The defender smiles. Every spark you sustain becomes a star in someone else's night. Every word you release becomes wind for another's wings. And as the light of heaven swells around you, you feel gratitude more than command, joy more than duty. The flame you carry now is not for keeping, it is for giving. You lift your gaze toward the endless sky, and the air hums with quiet glory. The light above you seems to breathe, pulsing softly, as though heaven itself is whispering gratitude for your obedience. Every heartbeat feels like a hymn now, steady and full. You sense that what you have given, your yes, your courage, your light, has joined something vast, a symphony of souls burning bright across eternity. You stand still, bathed in radiance, realizing that giving is not departure but continuation. The story does not end here. It expands through every act of faith you release. The wind moves gently around you, carrying echoes of unseen wings. Every whisper feels like heaven's thank you, a reminder that your faith became flame. You smile through quiet tears, knowing the light within you will keep walking long after your feet rest. Heaven's story continues through you. The air stills once more as you stand in the field of quiet radiance. Everything around you glows softly, the earth beneath your feet, the horizon ahead, even the sky above that now seems endless and alive. You sense the weight of time loosening. Past, present, and future blend together into one continuous breath. The peace that surrounds you is deeper than silence. It is the still heartbeat of heaven itself. You take a slow step forward, and the ground ripples like water. The path reforms beneath you, woven from pure light. It leads toward a mountain that rises higher than sight can reach. It isn't made of rock or stone, but of glory condensed into form. A mountain of divine presence. You realize this is the final ascent, the moment where decision becomes destiny. As you begin the climb, the wind grows stronger, not hostile but holy. It seems to call your name through each gust. You feel every part of your journey echoing in your steps, the fear that once chased you, the faith that replaced it, the battles, the blessings, the fire that refined you. Each step upward feels like another layer of self falling away until only what is eternal remains. The climb is steep, but there is no exhaustion. Instead, there is momentum. Heaven pulls you upward with unseen strength. Around you, fragments of your past drift like dust in light, fading into memory lessons kept, pain released. You are ascending not in effort but in surrender. Halfway up, you stop and look down. From this height, you can see the entirety of your journey stretched beneath you, the valley of remembrance, the bridge of crossing, the meadow of sealing, the path of revelation. Every step glows like a constellation of moments joined by obedience. It's beautiful proof that even your hardest days were holy. The mountain hums beneath your feet, as though heaven itself acknowledges your endurance. And then, through the golden wind, a new voice speaks. It is neither the defender nor the guide, but something older. Deeper, the voice of the one who sent them. It does not thunder. It resonates. Beloved, the voice says. And at that single word, the universe seems to bow in reverence. You have walked through what others feared. You have chosen light over comfort, obedience over delay. You have carried pain as seed and turned loss into praise. Now look, for mercy stands before you, hands. The summit comes into view, glowing like the heart of the sun. At its center stands a throne not of gold or stone, but of light woven from love itself. The air around it moves like breath, each current carrying the fragrance of eternity. The closer you come, the softer everything becomes. No more striving, only surrender. You kneel instinctively, not from command but from awe. The voice speaks again, filling the atmosphere with warmth. Your 21 minutes became a lifetime of obedience. What began as rescue has become revelation. You are not the same as when you began. Tears trace your face, and you realize they are not tears of sorrow but of recognition. You remember the first message, the urgency, the angels, the call to respond. And now, standing here at the edge of eternity, you understand that the countdown was never about fear. It was always about invitation, the measure of grace waiting for your answer. The wind slows, the throne shines brighter. And then, a scripture rises like incense through your spirit, completing the arc of your journey. As written in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 6, He said to me, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life." The words ripple through you, washing away the last trace of weariness. It is done. You realize this is not an ending, but a declaration of fulfillment. You are standing in the stream of eternal purpose, the very source from which you were first called. You lift your head. Light pours over you, through you, around you. It feels like being held, like returning home after a long exile. The mountain itself seems to breathe in harmony with your heartbeat. You know that what began as your rescue has become heaven's revelation to others through you. The voice speaks one final time, gentle yet infinite. The light within you will not fade, for it is not borrowed, it is born. The air stills again, and silence becomes sacred. You stand radiant and whole, your soul resting in the rhythm of eternity. The climb is over. The calling remains. You stand at the summit, the world beneath you shimmering like a memory redeemed. Every heartbeat feels like worship, every breath a conversation with eternity's peace. Light wraps around you like a robe. You understand now you were never walking toward God. He was walking within you all along. The summit glows endlessly, yet the light no longer feels external. It rises from within you like dawn breaking behind your ribs. Heaven no longer seems far above. It breathes through you, steady and familiar. You are no longer just in God's presence, you have become its reflection. The mountain hums softly beneath your feet, and the air vibrates with a still joy. The sound of peace fulfilled. You turn slowly, taking in everything around you. The horizon stretches beyond sight, endless, radiant, alive. The sky is no longer a ceiling, it is an invitation. You realize this place is not meant to keep you, it is meant to send you. The revelation of the summit is not retreat, but renewal. You are not here to rest, you are here to remember. And then through the whispering light, the defender and the guide reappear one final time. Their forms are different now, less defined, more like fragments of brilliance taking shape only long enough to be recognized. You sense that they are not leaving, they are merging into what comes next. The guide speaks first, his voice like water running through crystal. Chosen one. The journey you have walked has never been about arrival. It has always been about awakening. You were never meant to escape the world, but to carry heaven into it. You nod, feeling the truth vibrate in your spirit. The weight of understanding settles gently, not as burden but as balance. The mountain beneath you seems to pulse with agreement. The defender steps forward, his eyes glowing with pride that feels older than time. You have stood where few dare to stand, he says. You have listened where others turn away. You have carried light through shadow and emerged with compassion, not arrogance. Now you are ready to descend not back into darkness, but into destiny. His words startle you slightly. Descend, you ask. After all this, he smiles. Every summit becomes ascending. The higher you climb in revelation, the deeper you must return in compassion. The world below still waits for what you now carry. You look down the mountain. The path glows faintly all the way to the horizon, winding through valleys and fields. You realize that your return will not be regression. It will be redemption. You are not going back as who you were. You are going back as what heaven made you to be. The guide raises his hand, and the air fills with golden particles swirling around you. Within them, you see images, faces of people you've never met, places you've never been, nations and hearts still bound in night. The light within you responds to them instinctively, reaching outward like fire searching for air. The guide says softly, "The glory you received here must find its echo in the earth. You have seen the face of mercy, now become its voice. Walk as peace, speak as truth, live as light. Tears blur your vision, but they are sweet. You understand completely now. Revelation was never meant to end on the mountain. It was meant to flow back through humanity to turn wounds into wisdom, suffering into song, despair into doorway." The defender lowers his sword for the final time, planting it gently into the earth. From its hilt, light flows outward like a river, descending the mountain and vanishing into the distance. "This light will guide your steps," he says. "You will not lose your way, for heaven has already marked the path before you." Then the voice of the Father, gentle infinite, speaks once more, filling the sky with warmth and power. "Go in peace, bearer of light. The world you return to will not recognize what stands within you. Do not seek understanding, seek to understand. Where there is chaos, bring calm. Where there is despair, bring dawn." You breathe deeply, steadying your heart. The angels begin to dissolve back into radiance, but before they vanish completely, the guide looks at you and whispers, "Every rescue ends in renewal. Every chosen one becomes the message they once received. Their forms fade into light, merging with the wind. You stand alone once again, but this time, alone feels holy. The summit's glow begins to pour through you instead of around you. The distinction between heaven and earth grows thin, almost transparent. You understand at last the line between divine and human was always meant to blur within love. A gentle verse rises through your spirit, the final seal upon your soul. As the psalmist wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 84, verse 7, they go from strength to strength till each appears before God in Zion. The words move through you like a heartbeat. You are not finished, you are fortified. Every place you step from now on becomes sacred ground. Every word you speak carries resonance from this mountain. You will walk through familiar spaces as a stranger to fear, carrying eternity in your chest. The light softens, the air stills. The summit begins to dissolve into pure brightness. And the last thing you hear is not a command, but a whisper. You are the bridge now. You take one step forward and find yourself back where the first message began. But everything is different. Heaven has not ended. It has moved inside you. Beloved chosen one, if you have journeyed this far, know this heaven is not distant. It has been walking beside you the entire time. Every word, every pause, every heartbeat in this story was written so that you might remember who you are and why you were chosen. The message does not end here. It continues through you. The light that once surrounded you now burns quietly within your chest. It flickers when you speak hope. It glows when you forgive. It expands when you share love. And though this story closes its pages, its flame is meant to keep moving to find the hearts still waiting for their dawn. When you share this message, you become part of that divine movement. Each click sends light farther, reaching someone standing where you once stood in silence, in searching, in need of a sign. Let your sharing be a soft candle passed from hand to hand, a gift of warmth asking for nothing in return. Like this message if it stirred your spirit. That simple act is not about approval, it is an echo that tells heaven, I receive this word, and I choose to live it. Comment below with what this journey awakened in you. Your words may be the seed of faith that helps another rise from their valley. Subscribe if you wish to stay near this stream of light, to hear future whispers that remind you who you are and who you're becoming. And if gratitude rises in your heart, let it flow through kindness. When you donate, you are not giving to a person, you are giving wings to a message that continues to heal, restore, and awaken others. You are no longer the one waiting for rescue. You are the light that rescues others.